Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. We've got new inflation data out. It's not good. I'm going to rant in this video because this is really frustrating me and I don't think we need to really see inflation at the moment, and I'm going to explain why I believe that in this video. So we're going to talk about the inflation data, the impact that's going to have on the housing market, because it is going to have an impact on your mortgage, it's going to impact your house price as well, and much more. So before we jump into this, if you're new around here, do make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. By subscribing, you'll get all the latest house price news, interest rate news, property investing news, and much more. And let's get some more views on this video. How do we do that? Simple. Smash like, tickle like, do something to the like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that really has helped the channel grow. So before we jump into this, I'd like to thank all the new subscribers. We have had nearly 4,000 subscribers over the last few days. We did a video where we talked about the new tax proposals from Rachel Reeves. Do go and check that out. It's at 150,000 views already, and that's why we didn't have a video yesterday, because there was 4,000 comments which we're working through, dealing with at the moment and responding to everybody. So thanks to everyone that's new to the channel. So the inflation data came out this week, and to me, it's frustrating. And it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. Where we sit with the inflation data at the moment is it's gone up. So inflation has gone up from 3.6% all the way up to 3.8%. And that is an 18-month high. So that's not good. And it shows that things are moving in the wrong direction. And it seems so many things aren't working in the economy at the moment. You've got the unemployment rate rising. You've got the GDP figures so low that with a revision down, we could technically be in a recession already. And sentiment isn't good at the moment. And that is keeping things to a point where they're not going to pick up anytime soon, in my opinion. And then we've got the looming budget in October, and that just sounds horrendous. Everything that we're hearing from that sounds like they're going to increase taxes and really slow down the economy, I think. And I don't think they really got the right focus to fix these problems that we've got. Now, the inflation sits at 3.8%. The Bank of England and the ONS are predicting that the inflation is going to go up even higher. In fact, it's likely to go above 4% by the end of the year, which isn't great for anybody. So what are the problems and what is causing the inflation to be up this month, according to the data? Well, airfares, this is insane. And you can say that they go up because of school holidays, and you'd be right, but they haven't gone up this much since 2001, just to be very clear. Airfares are up 30%. 30% increase. Now, you do get a seasonal increase. Of course you do, when it's school holidays. And the school holidays did start that little bit earlier this year. But still, that's a crazy increase in airfares that we're seeing there. Other costs that have increased are transport in general, and petrol prices have gone up again, which will feed into a lot of different categories that will use petrol to run their business. And one of the biggest problems that we've got is that food has gone up. So food has gone up by 4.9% on an annual basis now. So that's creeping up. Look, if you can't afford to go on holiday, you just won't. Well, some people might put it on finance, but if you can't afford to go on holiday, you don't have to go on holiday, but you do have to eat. And so this hits poorer people unfairly. They're getting hit massively harder than anybody else. And so food going up by 4.9% is a disaster. Now, why is the food going up? Well, there's a few things. And we've covered those on various videos, but I'll recap here now. Business rates have gone up. So business rates went up, and that's impacting business costs. That will get passed on in the higher costs. In the food production, wages are one of the biggest costs there. And so the minimum wage going up definitely hit businesses very hard. that cost will get passed on in higher costs of food as well. And it also means people will lose their jobs. And so that's why unemployment is going up. The energy costs are still going up. I talked about the petrol just there, but energy costs are continuing to go up. That is hitting businesses very, very, very hard. And the national insurance increase hits the businesses as well. But there's one thing that I haven't covered that is contributing massively, and I hadn't heard about this. Maybe you had, but I seem to have missed this. It's called packaging tax. It was something that was implemented a while back that's really starting to hit wholesalers of food now. And they're saying it's increasing their costs by as much as 10%. So the packaging tax is all about making stuff more green. That's good. But the tax that's been generated by that and being paid by companies is an extra £1.4 billion every single year. £1.4 billion. So that's just going to get passed on to us in high costs. And so they're saying the packaging tax is the main reason that we're seeing the food prices increase. Why I'm frustrated with all of this is that some of these things are very admirable. Yes, we want people to earn more money. Yes, we want people to be more green. But do we need to be doing this all at the same time when the economy is on its knees and people are really struggling? For example, did we need to increase the national insurance costs because that hits small business owners and will delay people getting pay rises over the next year or so as well? So that's not going to be good for business. That's not going to be good for employees as well. What else is going on with this inflation data? Well, the core inflation, which strips out the volatile stuff, that was at the 3.8% that we had there. And so that shows that things aren't moving in the right direction. It's going to get more expensive. And we've had increased costs for ages. This is just on top of that. If inflation goes to zero, it doesn't mean prices are going down. It means they've just stopped going up for a temporary period of time. Now, the Bank of England, the ONS, the government, they're all going to look at certain data points here. And these two are really going to stand out to them. First is wages. So wages growth is still fairly strong. Now, that's good, in my opinion, because it means people are getting a bit of a breather. That's positive. I'd like to know whether you've had a pay rise anywhere near this. 4.6% is the average increase in wages. Now, some of that will be in government, and you're more likely to get a pay rise there in line with inflation. And private companies, not all of them. Some sectors won't have had a pay rise for years right now because they're really, really struggling. You'll get some that have done very well and will have had these pay rises. What about you guys? I'd like to know, have you had a pay rise along these sorts of lines, 4.6% over the last year or so? And does that number stack up for you? Often when I ask that, people say no, but I'm sure some of you must have. Because otherwise it wouldn't be in the data. So wages are up. The government won't like that because that means we could get more inflation because people might spend more or pay higher prices. And one thing that they're really going to be concerned about is this service inflation data. And that's gone up from 4.7% to 5%. They always mention that when they talk about inflation, that the service inflation, we're talking restaurants, we're talking barbers, we're talking solicitors, people that provide a service, which is a big part of our economy. Those prices have gone up 5% this year, which is a big increase. And that is something that they're going to be concerned about. They want to see the service inflation going down. But here's the problem. You're not doing anything as a government. There's no policies that are driving inflation down. You've got business rates going up, you've got energy going up, you've got minimum wage going up, you've got packaging tax on businesses that own that type of business. None of this is going to help inflation drop anytime soon. In fact, most of the inflation that we're seeing at the moment is own goals by our own government. Now, it was similar with the last government. Don't get me wrong, neither of them have really done anything to bring down inflation. But it seems to be a lot of own goals that are giving us this high inflation. If we didn't put the packaging tax on, or we just delayed it for a year or so, that means food inflation would be lower at the moment. If we didn't put the national insurance increase onto small businesses at the same time as putting up minimum wage, at the same time as increasing business rates, then we wouldn't have this inflation that we have right now. All of the inflation that you're seeing is out of your control, and that's the frustrating part of this. Now, what impact does this have on house prices? Well, this is good if you've got debt. So if you've got a mortgage, having debt is good because your debt is getting eroded at 3.8% every single year. As long as you get some sort of pay rise at some point to keep up with this, or you increase your income some way if you're a business owner, then this isn't necessarily bad if you have a debt, and that is a positive thing. Now, in real terms as well, if house prices are going up any less than 3.8%, that means they're actually declining in real terms as well. And that's a softer way for house prices to become more affordable for people in the market. So that's positive because people want house prices to become more affordable, but they also don't want house prices necessarily to crash because that means people would be in negative equity. So that's how that works out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification. Make sure you smash that like button. And before you go, make sure you grab a copy of our new ebook, Mortgage Secrets, How to Get the Best Mortgage Deal in 2025 and Beyond. I'm going to link to it in the description. 1,800 people have grabbed a copy of that now, so thanks to everyone that grabs that, and I hope you save some money on your mortgage. Do make sure you comment on every video, even if it's just to say hi, and we've got a lot of content over the next few days. There's so much that I've got to share with you, so do make sure you check out and keep an eye for that. Do check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.